Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, part two with myself, Neil Pickup. We got John Brzenk still with us. John, sorry about the power cut there in part one, mate.
Still here.
Personality zoomed in and smashed my lighting in my house. I've had that a couple of times recently, quite weird. But yeah, thanks for being with us again, mate. And I wanted to pick up, for those of you who tuned into the first part of this thing, we were just getting into the mix about sort of your progression heading into the top 8 tournament. One of the things that I wanted to pick up on, mate, obviously it's a great story, this, isn't it? The whole sort of story around the fact that you're the one arm wrestler that I can think of, and I'm going to sort of check my maths on that a little bit, but the one arm wrestler that I can really think of, I'll mention some names in a minute, but the one that has survived all the really big up points within the sport of arm wrestling, the high points in the sport, and been a winner, been the champ, you know? And other guys were there. You know, Ron Bath was there. Richard Lucas was there. There were other guys in the mix, but none, Alan Fisher, but none that were the man. Now, if you could come back to the sport now and win the top 8, that would be, wouldn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No joke, that is. You've already, look, mate, you're past proving. We've talked about this a lot of times. You're way past that milestone. But what I'm getting at is, there's two ways you can see that. Either it excites you, or you feel pressure from it. You know, it does make you feel that little bit and a bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
And you've never been that guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not feeling.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling any pressure. I'm not feeling any pressure. I'm almost expecting to lose, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and that I'm just not last. That I can hopefully win the first round, or at least win the second or third round if I'm in the losers bracket. But yeah, I'm. You know, I've got moments, I guess, where I feel like I talk myself into the fact that maybe I still have it, but then I'm quickly reminded that no, I probably don't have it. So, yeah, I'm allowing myself to I have no pressure on myself. I'm not expecting. I don't expect myself to win. So, it's definitely a lot nicer to be able to go into a situation like this and just do the best I can and just hope for the best. So we'll see.
I mean, it's got to give you a little bit of encouragement, though, that you. How long ago was it Ryan was out there? Ryan Bowen, maybe what, month? Something like that?
Yeah, about a month. Yeah, a month and a half.
Now, interestingly, Ryan's a globetrotter. Obviously, the lad's out and about. You know, he's all over the place. And has progressed significantly himself. He's no bum. No. Dude can arm wrestle. And he'd just been out to the Zloty tour, as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulled against some top boys out there, you know, in and around that weight class. And he's pretty well travelled anyway. He's pulled a lot of the guys who are bangers right now. Now, he said to me privately after, and I know he spoke to you while he was out there, that he personally had seen a very, very significant increase in development in where your level was. And between you and me, and he won't mind me saying, prior to going out to visit you, he was keen to know where he's at, mate, because Ryan has been on that upward trajectory pretty quick, and he developed a great deal. I mean, 40%, so I'm told. Now, he wanted to know. He wanted to know whether he'd close that gap. So I don't believe that he would have backed off, and he was there for quite a while and pulled you quite a lot. And when he came away from there and I spoke to him on the phone, he said, wow, he's different level now. Can't do nothing with him.
Yeah.
We didn't see what really went down there. How did you genuinely feel with Ryan? Was Ryan in any way a real threat? You can only...
Yeah, no, Ryan's a threat to me. Ryan, I mean, to anybody that has to pull him or is going to pull him in the near future, Ryan's got some holes, but Ryan, to me, in the right situation, in the straps, you know, with a stop, I don't care where it stops, he becomes, oh shit, very dangerous.
Yep.
He doesn't wear out very quickly. He's got tremendous endurance. He doesn't have quite the King's move, but he's got that feel to him where it's like, I can't pin this son of a bitch. I got all the advantage I could possibly want, and I still can't pin him. So panic sets in, especially if you're an explosive puller like myself. So, my experience with Ryan now, I highly respect him and would be very, very aggressive. And I know, I kind of know in my mind how I would, pull him, and definitely never put myself in a position where he could definitely put the hurt and embarrass me. And I it's funny how, looking back at his last few super matches too, it's, people get the first win on him, and then I think they kind of somewhat get overconfident and let down a little bit, and that just works right into his game. So, and I would probably do the same, get a quick win on him and think, oh man, this guy's, cupcake, he's easy, and then all it takes is just a little bit of a letdown, and then you're going, oh shit, what just happened? So,
is that your biggest fear for the top 8, mate? For you personally, do you feel like if you get do you feel like if you get drawn into long battles, it's problematic?
No, coming into this first round, my biggest worry, is just how explosive this kid is that I'm going to pull, this David from Armenia. Anyone else, I wish I could have drawn anybody of the other 3. Well, I mean, of course, not one of the champions, but this guy, he seems to be able to shut down people that are trying to top roll him, and puts him out of position, and is very explosive. So I just, it scares me. I'm gonna definitely have to be trying to move hard, to some protective position, and hopefully that hand strength doesn't put me in a palm upward, drug across the table kind of position. So part of me think, well, it's, so you got 6 rounds. So, I mean, I'd probably stick with the top roll, and then if it gets turned under and I'm fighting for my life in a hook out of position, I think my second match, I'd probably approach standing up a little taller and being ready to hook. That hand strength and the speed definitely worries me, especially in the type of puller that I am right now.
Think any of these guys are going to go over there and be or are they going to be nervous? Do you think that you're going to see something from these guys where there's a little too much respect? Or can you use that as a weapon, do you think?
I don't think I'm going to see that from David. I mean, he's just too young, too confident, and just, he's just going to be full of fire. So maybe the second round guy, maybe from someone like Babayev, maybe would respect me just because he's got the memory of what I was in the past. Yeah. But Ungrabayev, he isn't going to respect me. Petrenko, he doesn't. He's a young kid too. He's just going to be going for. So I'm not expecting anybody to be thinking, oh shit, or worried about the John Brzenk hit or John Brzenk power. I think they're going to be going after me. So I don't expect anybody to be giving up any matches or letting down at all in that respect.
Who do you fear most in there? Who's the guy? If you had to sort of draw a line under it today and pick a winner outside of yourself, who would that be? Who's your favorite?
I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be Ungrabayev, right? I mean, he can pull so strong outside. I mean, to be able to top roll Prudnik like he did and get out on his hand, and also he possesses just a tremendous hook, which in the past maybe I would feel like that would be where I would try to go with him. Babayev, I think even though my shoulder's a mess, I think I can still put enough back pressure to possibly do something in that match. So I feel like Rustam, I might be able to do something. Petrenko, I don't know anything. I mean, just from what I see, it was nice to be able to see Krasny just fly right through him.
Yeah,
I'm
just
thinking,
drilling.
okay, well he's not invincible. I mean, I know what Krasny feels like. So, I don't know what the new Krasny feels like. He's a beast right now. But
relatively recent evidence suggests that he's a known quantity to you because he'd lost the match against Marcio, which went right where he wanted it to be. and yet he came
Right.
a little short. So
Right.
I think he's a measured quantity, you know, and I'm not
Right.
sure, and I mean this with the greatest of respect to the guys that were in the Zloty Tour, because there was a pretty impressive field, but I believe you've pulled in more impressive fields at that particular event.
Mm-hmm.
My genuine opinion.
Yeah. So it if I can get through the first round, it doesn't matter who I get the second round. Angrabayev will be kind of a letdown if I end up pulling, I think in my mind, the top guy in the second round if I can get that far. But yeah, so that's how I would rank them. Angrabayev 1, probably Petrinkov 2, and then Babayev 3rd.
Really?
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just because Babayev, I don't know. Babayev's still vulnerable with the hand, right?
You know what? I think the toughest guy didn't come down to the weight. Honestly, I think Evgeny Prudnik was the man.
Oh, there's no doubt.
You know, that's a bad.
There's no doubt. Yeah, that's. But you know, Angrabayev.
You know, he's reminds me a great deal of you. Actually, he really does. He's got a lot of your look about him, mate. He can pull anywhere. He's got a lot going on. I think his potential is colossal. Really do.
No. Well, and I expect to see him in that weight class unless he wins the heavyweights this year. I mean, there's no doubt to me that he will or could make that weight. I don't know if he was told not to make it this year, but I would suspect that he's probably in phase 2 of the 95 kilo class if that comes to be a thing the following year.
It's quite weird, isn't it, how they're marketing it though? Because you know, if you're a cynical guy, if you sat outside, you might think to yourself, "Oh, this will be cool," because what they're going to do here is they want John to cut. Everybody's got that fairy story in their mind, haven't they? John gets through round 1, and then John's coming back, and he may end up winning this thing. So, if you were sort of mapping that out as a promoter in your mind, you might be thinking, "Okay, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put John in against who I perceive as the weaker one of those champions, or stylistically an individual who he may do well with in the second round, in order to potentially set up that sort of dream scenario where you get through to that final round and you're right there, you know." And then you look at the heavyweight scenario that's just happened now, and Chafee's going straight in against Saganashvili.
Right.
What's that about?
Yeah, no, so it makes me believe that they're not setting up or seeding anybody. That it truly is a luck of the draw type of thing, because
that's certainly strange, isn't it? You wouldn't have picked that match.
Yeah,
right.
I think Dave's got a chance though with Levon. He just has to pull smart. He has to pull. You know, Dave's got a strong enough hand. He just needs to not be hanging on to that big bastard's hand. He needs to be grabbing onto that wrist and forcing that match, inside. So, and I'm not sure Dave's been doing that or training that way, but I think Dave has good chances. He's definitely got the arm strength, right? It's just he's got to control.
Dave, mate. I really do. Dave Chafe is an absolutely great bloke, and I think he's a little bit isolated in some respects. I don't think he's necessarily got that crop of heavyweight lads around him who, and any that wouldn't necessarily be open to allowing him to work his positions, his range of movement and technique. You do see, when I watch Dave arm wrestle, I kind of selfishly wish I had him for 3 months, 6 months.
Right.
Because he's got a lane, and it's a relatively narrow lane, and the guy's massively powerful, but there are some really glaring holes in Dave's technique.
Yes.
And often you see that I'm so powerful that nobody gives him.
Yeah, no, I see the same thing. He allows himself to be put in such compromising positions, and most of the time he's got the hand strength to pull it off. But it's like, Jesus, holy cow!
Like what the?
But amazing. But that was crazy what you just did, straight-handed, and we're able to control that match hand to hand like that. No bow, no movement, no rotation. It's.
Can you imagine that dude if he got if he was the guy that could be tricky out the blocks? Right. That's what worries me for him, John. Really, I've got Levan in their match. I just think he's got a real crop of pullers around him, and he's very fluid for a giant. Let's be honest, an absolute lump, isn't he? You wouldn't want to find every wardrobe after coming home early from work and being
but really, how strong is he really? He's been able to put people out of position so badly that it seems to me that, well, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe I'm fooling myself into thinking that he's got like a Cleve Dean type of arm. He's just so hard to get a hold of that he just looks so strong because he's so big. But in reality, if he is brought, or you could actually pull on his arm, that he's kind of a normal guy. And there's been a little bit of evidence of that. I mean, Trubin got him in a position where it looked like, oh, his arm's opening up. It's moving. I mean, that angle's opening up. So I think, like I said, I think Dave has the strength. He just needs to sharpen the tools a little bit better and experience that feeling of hanging onto a tree trunk and know what works and what doesn't. I mean, gripping that man hand to hand is not going to work. He has to grip so low where he just takes that hand size away, and it's tough to do if you don't practice it.
Yeah, it's a shame that Dave isn't almost like in other sports. You see training camps, you know what I mean, where you've got your top guys, they're locked away for a period of time, and they are training in a very professional way to prepare for an event. And I genuinely feel that Eastern Europe are way ahead of the rest of the world, and possibly some of the Scandis. Sweden are similar, but I think the sport has reached a level of professionalism now, mate, where you almost need to get to that. You know what I mean? Where you've got like a professional training camp, and that is the scenario in Eastern Europe. I mean, you've got to give Igor Mazurenko his credit. That has happened. They've got mega equipment, and it's become very professional in the approach. And you can see that
it's gone completely the opposite of what arm wrestling was 10, 15 years ago. Everybody thought that Europeans were these gym rats that were just nothing but iron, and the Americans were the fluent ones that did the sparring a lot of. But I agree. I think it's completely changed.
Big time.
Europeans have become the smart ones now, and they have clubs of 10, 12, a couple dozen people, but huge groups of great arm wrestlers, and that's to me that's always been the key. To have that variety and knowing different fields and what people bring to the table.
You see it in all strength and combat sports. I mean, in the next few weeks, we're going to be having guys on here, some of the pro strongmen, and being in that environment, and also in the fight sport background, you see that is the evolution of these kind of sports, particularly where they've had an underground feel to them before. Look at UFC. Strongman's another great example. And it's at a level, and everybody's doing what they do, and then a few guys ascend to that next level and plan differently. Their strategy's different, and the whole game, boom, it levels up. And I think arm wrestlers in that situation. I know iron sharpens iron, and in the peak of my career, I always found that I got the very best from immersing myself with the most horrible bunch of that I could possibly find. You know what I mean? If you went somewhere and everyone felt like you were the weakest dude in the room, and then when you came out, you felt horrible and depressed for a while, but when you came up and you managed to gulp some air into your lungs, you were just a better puller than you'd ever been before.
No, for sure. Having someone stronger than you, and then reaching to the point where after a year or two you end up being able to pull with them, that says a lot. I mean, I agree. I mean, it requires the best to become the best. So, but it's hard to find guys like that, right? I mean, that's kind of been my problem or my excuse lately. It's like Hutchins left, my brother doesn't pull anymore. I mean, the level of top pullers that I can get used to is tough. So you start fooling yourself into believing that you're something a little lesser ability puller, and so then you get surprised. But
it's interesting, isn't it? One of the areas I think you've been really underutilized, and possibly it's an exciting area going forward. We talk about the level of professionalism in the sport. You talk about the strides forward, and you've been involved throughout that entire journey, John. I mean, Christ knows we both have, mate, right from the over-the-top days at the Hilton. And you look at it now, the World Arm Wrestling League on one side of the Atlantic, on the other side, the Professional Arm Wrestling League. But the level of I'm gonna make a bold statement and say the level of the sport is far different to where it's ever been before. We've had, nobody jumps on me out there, and none of the old guard, of which I'm one, jumps on me and says, "Shut the," What I'm saying here is, it's not that there hasn't been those high points. We can all talk about high points in the sport. What I'm talking about here is the high point that is global, and it's not a signal flare. It's not a flash in the pan. Over the Top was a flash in the pan. It was a culmination of something which, bang, all the messages went out and everybody got into arm wrestling, and great, fabulous. It got me into the sport. The qualifiers for that were where I cut my teeth in the game. But right now, different place. Now you've got, because of the digital era and everybody's online, you've got kids in gyms in Russia, in Poland, in Latvia, now in Australia, that are rock strong. You go to somebody's frigging garage in Brisbane, some guy will rock up and you'll think, is that? Where did you grow that?
No.
They're everywhere.
No, arm wrestling has gotten for sure the maybe the quality is not as high. Quality obviously is high, but just the depth, the amount of people that are involved in it and that watch it and are fans of it and then want to participate in it are 100-fold of what they were just even 10 years ago. So it amazes me. It never fails. Like once or twice, well, not once or twice a week, but maybe once every 2 weeks or so, I'll be walking through the airport and somebody will double take and grab me and want to do a photo. It's like, are you kidding me? Oh, I'm just a huge fan of from YouTube. You're a fan of the sport of armor. Oh, I just love it. So yeah, no, it's
that age though. How good is that?
It's progressed. It's crazy. It's like, are you kidding me? It always shocks me.
Weird, but it's great. Yeah. And you know what? I was saying earlier, the big opportunity there, and something I think everybody in the sport would love to see it, mate, is we get to a situation where the World Arm Wrestling League takes this sport to somewhere it's never been. Whether it's PAL, whether it's W.A.L, working together, hopefully, we get this situation to global recognition for the sport being in an entirely different place. And you do see this opportunity for people to follow, and it can be a vocation. They end up a professional arm wrestler, which is what I've been striving for, as you know, all my life, mate. So that when your grandson grows up, when my boys grow up, they can be professional arm wrestlers. That would be, for me, that would be the coolest thing ever possible. Now, if that scenario presents itself and we can still move and walk about, what could be cooler than you helping the national North American squad get ready for? I mean, that if you're not made for that, I don't know who is. I mean,
I have to be able to put my arm on the tail. It's to be honest, Todd Hutchins said I'm a horrible coach, but I kind of believe that I'm a horrible coach. I'm not very good at instructing the sport. I can get on the table and pull, and months later you'll walk away and go, okay, I got it. I feel so much stronger, and I see what you said, and I from experience, I think that I would be helpful, but as far as trying to sit back and say, no, this is what you need to be doing or should be doing, or this is, I'm a horrible.
You know what? I don't agree with that, mate. I don't agree with that at all, because I'm gonna say that you helped me enormously. You may not be the type of guy that stands in front of a room and articulates it through a megaphone, but when you get the opportunity to be on the arm wrestling table with you, and you're doing what you do, I always remember. You remember Main Event 2, Idaho. In that tournament, Elaine Blick put on. I went out there and I was pulling Sylvain Perron. Cracked Sylvain over a long way towards the pad, ended up losing the match. And we were over at the practice table and he said, oh yeah, you started walking through what I was doing there and told me I was staying too open, and maybe not articulating something in the way that a Devon Larratt would, where he'd stand up and give a seminar. But when you came onto the arm wrestling table, your ability to articulate it in physicality was ridiculous. You were able to show me exactly what you were talking about, and it just bullet to the brain. It just hit immediately. Now, that kind of demonstration is absolutely invaluable. And when you're in a situation, as you would be with a professional team of pullers like that, you would have that one-on-one time, John. And I think in that scenario, they'd benefit enormously. I know I actually send my boys over to train with you, mate, in a heartbeat. Really.
It'd be exciting. It'd be definitely something to keep you busy through our older years. But yeah, definitely exciting to think about something like that. But yeah.